How dangerous is South Carolina as an opponent? Pretty dangerous. Stick around. I'm going to tell you why. Let's break down Bama and South Carolina by the numbers. This is Way Offsides. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Welcome into your favorite Alabama show here on YouTube. Let's get started with a big roll tide down in the comments. Thumbs up on this video. Also, while you're there, go ahead and hit the subscription button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. We got a ton of stuff coming out. We're going to preview this South Carolina matchup all week, and you are not going to want to miss it. We're going to start off by that everybody's had circled as the potential trap game for Alabama if they were to make it this far, either with one loss or unbeaten. I do think that is absolutely a consideration and the case. I think Alabama is a better team than South Carolina. However, going on the road to that environment, right before your bye week, I think they're coming off of a bye week. There's potential there for things to go kind of sideways for the Tide. Now, we can't control for everything in a game, right? But we can look at numbers and we can infer certain things based off of the numbers. That is how I get my score predictions so close. Okay. A lot of people ask me that, Cotton, like sometimes you say stuff and then it happens in a game. Well, college football can, to a certain extent, be very predictable, right? And that's what we're going to try to do today. We're going to look at South Carolina by the numbers. I'm not going to give my prediction yet today, but we'll get there. Let's start off with some offensive stats for South Carolina that I think are of importance for you to pay attention to going into this game. First and foremost, South Carolina ranks 102nd in passing offense in the country. They're averaging about 191 yards per game. Now, they have not played a secondary nearly as good as Alabama's. Alabama has the best secondary in the SEC. They're like the third or fourth best secondary in the country. That's very interesting because Alabama's not been great at pressuring the quarterback. So looking at that number, it doesn't bode well at all for South Carolina, right? Alabama obviously they have a big edge there. Now, what about running the ball? Well, they don't rank very high in running the ball either. They rank 120th in the country in rushing offense. They're averaging about 106 yards per game. Now, we know Alabama's defense is susceptible to big run plays at certain points in times. So if they can limit those to maybe two, Alabama shouldn't have much of an issue stopping the run. Alabama's actually been doing a really good job stopping the run this year. A lot of people don't realize that because the numbers don't look great. Well, the numbers look the way they do because every now and again, somebody busts off a big run. Ahmad Hardy, probably the best running back in the SEC right now. Alabama was able to hold him under 60 yards rushing. Alabama did a really good job with Tennessee's running back last week, except for a couple of big plays where he broke loose. So I think Alabama definitely has the edge there defensively overall. Now, here's the thing. Here's where I think it can get a little dicey for South Carolina. Alabama right now, their pass rush hasn't been great. It's been inconsistent. However, they are learning how to use people such as Yanze Pierre correctly and win, right? Alabama, they're getting better. This has been kind of the philosophy with Alabama all season, getting better positionally all the way across the field. And they have done that week in and week out. South Carolina is last in sacks allowed. They're dead last in the entire country, allowing almost 4 a game. Now, here's the thing. Lenore Sellers, we know he's not the greatest QB. He's not accurate, but if he is anything, it is insanely athletic. Getting him down to the ground will be a huge problem. Kalen DeBoer has said this. Everybody said this, right? So Alabama's going to have their work cut out for them. Not only are they going to have to rush this kid and make him uncomfortable, they're also going to have to be disciplined and contain him. Now, they did a really good job with that with Diego Pavia. They did a pretty decent job with it with Perbula at the Missouri game. So I have some confidence there. Now, defensive side of the ball, this is where South Carolina is a better team. They rank 59th in team sacks. They're averaging around 2 a game. Alabama faced the best pass rush in terms of sacks in the country last Saturday night, and Ty Simpson's jersey was as clean as they played at home. As clean as it could be after the game. He did not get sacked. Alabama's offensive line is doing their job. In terms of third down, this is where Alabama's really, really, really good. This is where Alabama's beating teams. Turnover margin, we're going to talk about in a second, and then third down. their defense ranks 112th in the country in third down stops, allowing opponents to convert around 44% of their third downs. Now, I don't foresee Alabama getting in a lot of third down situations in this game. However, when they do, I have confidence that they're going to be able to convert them. Ty Simpson's the best quarterback in college football right now. Alabama does have the edge there. Now, what would hurt Alabama is playing on the road, that rowdy environment, procedural penalties that get them stuck behind the chains in early down situations. That is where I have a concern. Now, South Carolina's defense is 29th in the country in passing yards allowed. They are a good secondary. They're allowing about 186 a game. Ty Simpson's going to have his work cut out for him. They're 75th in the country in run defense. Opponents are averaging about 150 a game. Alabama should be able to run the ball. Daniel Hill, the big bruising running back, it's already been said that he's going to get more carries, right? So we'll see how Alabama uses him. Now, a very interesting stat here. Turnovers. Alabama has been fantastic in turnovers this season. Absolutely fantastic. They've lost 3, but they've gained 12, right, for a turnover margin of +9. On the other side of that coin, South Carolina has also gained 12, which means they're very good at getting the ball. So you can expect Alabama to possibly turn it over in this game. However, they've also lost 8, right? So Alabama wins the turnover margin battle easily. Hey, sorry for the technical difficulties there. I apologize. But what we were talking about is the turnover margin. So you can expect South Carolina to potentially get at least 1 turnover in this game, as well as Alabama. Alabama's good for 1 interception, possibly a fumble recovery. They've been winning games. Right now, Alabama has scored 51 off of opponent turnovers. Opponents of Alabama have only scored 7. So when those moments do happen, and they will happen in this game, because of the crowd. Columbia is a crazy place. If they're in the game right now, like the students today are protesting on campus wanting Mike Shula fired. So we'll see. But I think the biggest thing here is going to be that turnover margin, watching how Alabama takes care of the ball, how Ty Simpson takes care of the ball. And then because this is an opportunistic defense, they've got a okay pass rush. They're not terrible. They're I can't remember the exact number, but they're doing all right in terms of getting to the quarterback. Alabama is getting better. You know what I mean? So it's something to. I feel like the turnovers are definitely something that we're going to want to keep an eye on, as well as obviously the trenches. Now, Alabama in early down situations is something we definitely want to watch, with the crowd noise, false starts, things like that. The Tide has been pretty good about that this season, to be honest. That I think they've done a great job. However, this is a crazy place to play. And as many people have noted, this is basically, it's in that trap game situation. It's in the last half of the season. Alabama has overcome that week 1 loss. Everything's out in front of them. They've only got to win a couple of tough ones moving forward. And if they do, then all of a sudden, Bama's Bama again. Going on the road, this is the kind of teams, Kalen DeBoer's been able to get this team up on the road for big games this season, but it was the ones that they were expected to win last year that the Tide struggled with. Now, Alabama opened up, I think, at like a 14.5 point favorite. That number's down to 11.5. And a lot of that is because of the things we're talking about right now. So a lot of the money is pouring in on South Carolina. However, I just think that Alabama will be able to take over this game, whether it be on the ground. It's something they haven't done yet. I think they're going to probably be very stubborn about that. Keep the ball in Ty Simpson's hand. Right. If Lenore Sellers isn't on the field, you don't have to worry about tackling him and keeping him contained. I think the Tide will be not so aggressive in their pass rush right now. Alabama's ranked 76th in the country in team sacks, and South Carolina is 84th. So they're about the same. But I think Alabama will be more concerned with containment here. So I expect, again, that just like with the Tennessee game, the story will be on third down, as well as early downs, watching for the Tide to be, consistent on those first down plays, not taking loss of yards, which they did a lot in the Tennessee game, or procedural penalties, things like that. So by the numbers, when you look at just the numbers, and again, that's really what we have to look at. Alabama, the only place where South Carolina really matches up is in sacks, and neither team has been great in that aspect. All the way across the board, passing game, running game, passing defense, run defense, Alabama wins in those categories. However, again, we have to take into an account a very, very ruckus environment. This is something that Kalen DeBoer is going to have to get this team ready for. Now, this team is seasoned. They've been doing this for a while now, so they should understand how to handle it. They've got great leadership in guys like Ty Simpson. So I think that Bama really, I think that they're primed to win this game. I really do. I know that a lot of people are scared and cautious to think that way. However, I just looking at the QB stats right now, right? Ty Simpson right now is, head and shoulders over this quarterback. Lenore Sellers, a great dude, by the way. If you haven't watched the SEC documentary on Netflix, go watch it. It highlights Lenore Sellers. Really cool dude. But in terms of being a passing quarterback, he's thrown for 1,134 yards right now, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, with a total QBR of about 61. Right, he's the 72nd ranked quarterback in the country when it comes to QBR. So he does have legs. He can run, but so can Ty Simpson. Now, Ty Simpson has thrown for just under 2,000 yards at 1,931, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception, 12th in the country in QBR. I just feel like per conference, his completion rating right now for Ty is 69%. Versus top 25 for Lenore Sellers. It's about 63%. I really do think that Alabama just has the leverage and the edge here. I do. I think this is a game where it could be close for a little while. Now, because, again, the environment, right? This environment is a very big factor in this game. That is why everybody's so careful about, thinking that Alabama is going to run away with this one. That environment is going to be a huge factor. And Alabama has had a habit of getting out in front of opponents and then allowing them to get back into games. The Tide will not be able to do that. They can't do that in this game. I'll go ahead and say this. If Alabama gets ahead and allows South Carolina to get back to within a score, if Alabama gets ahead, 17 points, and they allow South Carolina to get back within a single score, if they do that in this game, they're going to lose another game before it's over with. They're going to lose to Auburn, they're going to lose to LSU, or they're going to lose to Oklahoma. They've got to learn to put people away. And that's not just on the players, it's on the coaches too, with their play calling. Just my opinion. That is my opinion that I'm uncertain. You can tell me in the comment section below whether I'm right or wrong. Again, on paper, Alabama should win this one, but there are so many variables that you can't control for. I want to hear your score predictions, what you think is going to happen in this game. Do you think the Tide is mature enough to go on the road, get this W, get to the bye week, and face the last fourth of their season fresh and recharged? Thanks for sticking around with me. We love each and every one of you. You guys are the best fans in the entire world. As always, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.